News.
Hello and welcome to Friday's programme. This morning, a distraction theft that left one young man thousands of pounds out of pocket.
It was £3,000. It had taken me so long to save that up, and suddenly, it was gone.
It's time for Crimewatch Live.
Has been jamming the switchboard both here and at the incident room on that case of Welling Garden.
To remind you, this was the abduction and radio drop campaign and the handgun debate. Hello and welcome to Crimewatch. 12 people rang in, giving the same those fantastic results today.
Welcome to today's show. Thank you for all your calls this week. We're going to bring you updates as soon as we can.
Yeah, this morning we have one on a huge investigation that we've covered before. It's about the devastating rape of a teenager on a day out at the beach.
This act had taken place underwater, so we weren't entirely sure what damage that would have done to any forensic evidence. We were very hopeful, but it was by no means certain.
We've actually got a fantastic result on that case, haven't we?
Yeah, we really have. We're also joined by the Met, who are appealing for information on a hit and run which led to the death of this lady. This is Ina Rodriguez. They need to find two suspects riding the moped that hit her.
And the group who melt down knives taken off the street to make gym equipment. They'll be showing us their skills and talking about their scheme in the studio.
The gyms are made entirely from confiscated knives. Everything that Still Worries is trying to do here is effectively turn a negative into a positive.
The police from today's appeals, along with some of our team, are ready to take your important calls. So please do get in touch if you have any information. You can scan the QR code below using your phone's camera, which will take you through to our homepage. Otherwise, you can call us. This is our number, 08000 468 999. You can text us on 63399. Text crime, leave a space, then write your message. Or if you prefer, you can email us at cwl@bbc.co.uk.
First today, we're off to Cheshire, where police want to find two suspects skilled at stealing your hard-earned cash.
It was £3,000. It had taken me so long to save that up, and suddenly, it was gone.
When it does happen on your beat, you do take it personal that someone so brazen, so blatant, has done such a terrible thing to someone.
I'm quite a chatty, outgoing person. I try and be a nice person and help people where I can. It gives me a sense of meaning.
24-year-old Gary lives with his parents in Warrington and works nights at a local hotel. We've used an actor to help protect his identity.
I've always been a big saver since I was a kid. My main goal of it was to travel. Spain, Mexico, USA. Traveling doesn't come cheap, so obviously it's taken extra effort to save money for that.
On the 19th of June 2024, Gary went to the Nationwide Building Society in Warrington Town Centre.
I've always taken cash out and then taken it across the street to the other bank. To me, I was playing a part of keeping the branches open.
Gary took a large amount of cash out of his Building Society account. The money was put into a white envelope, which he took to the NatWest branch opposite.
I saw that there was a queue, so I thought I'll just pay it in using the pay in ATM. I noticed the woman came in and she was very stressed. I couldn't concentrate because she's making such a scene. I felt bad for her and I thought if I can translate for her, I can give her that message to the bank staff.
Gary placed his envelope down on a nearby counter as he helped the woman use the cash machine.
She got me to face her, which was the other way to my money. It was only a few minutes after that I saw the envelope was gone. I just had a panic attack, and I've never had a panic attack before. I didn't know what to do.
The thieves made off with £3,000, which was inside the envelope. Police Constable Graham Davis from Cheshire Police responded to the emergency call.
The victim, he was very upset indeed. We got a basic description from the staff.
Thanks to CCTV cameras in the area and in the 2 bank branches, police were able to see the thieves in action.
Right, we're now looking at Sankey Street in Warrington Town Centre, and this is the Nationwide. Our victim is at the end cashier here. He's withdrawing cash.
The victim leaves the branch with his cash and walks to the bank across the road.
He's going back down to the automated machine because the cashiers are busy.
A woman in a red coat and a man in a flat cap appear in the bank.
Immediately, the red coat lady starts to engage with him. She was speaking a foreign language. She indicates that she's confused about using a cash point. Flat cap guy, he's hovering, he's waiting for an opportunity to strike. He tries to help her, and his back's turned all of this point. His money is behind him, his phone's behind him. And flat cap man has gone in, and he's took the envelope, and he's away. Short time later, he's followed by a red coat lady. It's actually several minutes before the victim realises that his money's gone.
The suspects are seen running through Golden Square shopping centre, changing their clothes as they go.
The red coat lady, she's got rid of her red coat because it makes her very noticeable. Flat cap man. See, he's changed his coat. As he goes down the escalators, he takes his hat off, which gives us a chance to look at his hairline. He gets on a bus which goes to the south of the town. They make their way onto the A57 Midland Way before they disappear on camera. They have no regard for the victim. They just see the money and they just see the payday. It's not just the cash, it's had a profound effect on the victim.
For days after, I couldn't eat. I couldn't drink. It plays on your mind. What if I'd done this? What if I'd have done that? It can really change your life. The way you look at people, the way you treat people. Like I wouldn't help people anymore like I would before. I'm more cautious of everything.
They're clearly travelling the UK, targeting people at vulnerable moments in order to steal large amounts of cash. And I'm dying to meet them.
If they don't get caught, they'll keep getting away with it. So I hope the police can catch them and get them off the streets.
Yeah, we want to help get them off the streets too. PC Graham Davis from Cheshire Police, who you saw in the film there, is with me now. Thanks so much for coming in, Graham. I mean, when you watch that film, you see the 2 suspects, you can tell that this is really a rehearsed, well-oiled operation, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's very well planned. They carry out this crime with military precision.
They do. Well, let's just have a look at that footage again, because sadly, they just take advantage of the good nature of Gary, the victim, who you can see on the left there. The guy in the flat cap, as you said, he just swipes in. You've got the cash on the left.
Yeah.
It's shocking. There he is, just swiping it away.
Yeah, they've carried it out really well. We all know what the role is in this crime, and they've carried it out so well, and they've took advantage of this gentleman's good nature.
Yeah, and a huge amount of money as well, as Gary said, £3,000.
It's not just the money to him, and it's affected him much more than the money has.
Absolutely. Well, let's see if we can help. Let's remind ourselves, first of all, of where this all took place. So we've got a map. Just talk us through what we can see.
Yeah, you're looking at the centre of Warrington now. This is the Golden Square. It's a victim's taken his money out from a Nationwide bank and took it across the pedestrianised area of Sankey Street, so in that west. That's where the crimes took place. Now, the lady in the red coat has taken the pink route out of town. That's took her through Golden Square, past Starbucks, Boots, next WH Smith, to the top where Debenhams used to be, down the steps and onto Lee Street and onto the A57 Midland Way.
And after they left the bank, we've actually got some more CCTV. They're a bit pacey in this shot, aren't they? They're running, what, through a shopping centre, Graham?
Guilty conscience, possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see both of them running through the centre, and she's changing her appearance as she's going. That's what the backpack's for, is to put her coat in.
Right. So we can see her there. And then what's happening here? That's the chap on the escalator.
This is the escalators down onto Warrington bus station. He's completely changed his appearance, as you can see. You wouldn't recognise the same gentleman. He's took his hat off and he goes and gets a bus which takes him to the Stockton Heath area of Warrington Town.
Let's have a look at these two suspects again. So we'll start with the male. So in the bank, he's wearing the flat cap. We can see him there. Just go through the description.
Yeah, he's a shorter male. He's possibly South or Eastern European, possibly Central American. He's wearing a flat cap there. He's bald as he takes his cap off later.
So, yeah, we can see the next image, as you mentioned before, when he gets through the shopping centre, he takes his flat cap off, he uses his rucksack to put the black jacket in, changing his appearance.
It just shows the level of sophistication we're dealing with.
And the same with the female as well. We can see her in the first picture there. She is with the red top, running through the shopping centre, and she gets changed as well, doesn't she, Graham?
Obviously the red top makes her way too noticeable. And by the time she makes it to what I call the Debenham steps onto Lee Street, she's completely changed her appearance. But we're able to track her. We know it's her. And she made her way into Midland Way. What
about these suspects then, Graham? Do you think they might be local?
No. These are travelling the country, carrying out this offence. It maximises the chance that we won't be detected if we stay away from where we live.
Now, this type of crime, you want to make people aware, watching this morning, that this is something that still goes on.
Yeah, sadly, it happens so often. It's got a name. It's now called a bank follow, where obviously this gentleman's been acquired, being watched, withdrawn his money, and as soon as he handed the white envelope, we know what's in the envelope, and we basically drove our plans against him. So,
for anyone watching this morning, how can they help?
Well, firstly, if anyone is engaging with you in a bank when you're paying money, and you need to ask yourself why that's taking place, why aren't we dealing with the staff? If anyone's engaging with you or getting too close to you or distracting you when you're at a cash point, once again, that's got to be a red flag.
Being wary is key, isn't it?
Just being aware of what's going on around you.
Yeah. Graham, thanks so much. So, do you recognise these individuals? Because if you do, the number to get in contact with us is 08000 468 999.
Coming up, Merseyside police have driven down bike thefts by over 45%. They're with us today to tell us how they've made such an impressive dent on bicycle crime. But first, I'm with DS Jim Hinchliffe from the Met Police, who's appealing for information after the death of this lady. This is 58-year-old Ina Rodriguez, who was struck by a moped running a red light. Thanks for coming in today, Jim. It's actually a tragic case, what's happened. Just talk us through what did occur.
The incident happened on January the 16th in London on Talgarth Road, which is quite close to Barron Court Station. Ina had finished work and was on her way home when she got to a crossing at about 6:05 in the evening. And as she was crossing the road, she was collided with by a moped that jumped the red light.
Hit by this moped. Now, we're going to see some CCTV now. Now, I should say we've slowed this down substantially, but just play this clip on that you've provided us, Jim, because this we can see as a red light. It's going to go from amber to red, and then once it goes red, we're going to see highlighted with a red circle the moped that you describe that is going at pace. Now, we've slowed this down, as I say, it's going at pace, and here we're going to stop it. That is where it collides with Ina as she was crossing the road. Now, talk us through what happened after that, Jim, because it's horrible, isn't it?
Yeah, the rider and pillion passenger picked the bike up, brushed themselves down, got back on the bike and left the scene, and leaving Ina injured.
And they go off and leave. Now, what we can see towards the bottom of the screen is a number of people, including those from the vehicles across the road, running over to help this lady that was lying in the road. She had substantial injuries and that she was taken to hospital. And what happened there, Jim?
She was in hospital for a week, having treatment. During an operations, there were complications and she sadly passed away.
It is just so sad because we saw so many people trying to help her there, and two people that didn't were those on the moped who just made off. Now, you managed to trace where they went to after that, Jim. We've got some CCTV here. Talk us through what we're seeing now.
Yeah, the moped, shortly after the collision, was parked up on Edith Road, where the two suspects then covered a bike in order to hide it.
So we can see the cover going on there. These are the two that were riding the bike at the time. They were traced on camera to this location, and then they walk off. What happens there? Do you know?
We have 2 further sightings of the suspects, but unfortunately we lose them in Oriel Road, which is a residential street.
We can see that there, and looking at the map, it's actually not far, because towards the bottom of the screen we can see where the incident occurred. It's all quite close together, but that area there is where you lost sight of them, so we don't know where they've gone after that. What about the moped itself? What clues have you got from that?
Yep, the moped is a stolen vehicle. It had been stolen again within 2 miles of the incident, between the 5th and 6th of January.
So only about 2 weeks before?
Yes.
OK, now this is the vehicle. You've managed to recover this vehicle. Tell us about what you know from this, because it's red in colour, but it hasn't always been the case.
Yeah, between the theft of the moped and the incident, someone had hand-painted it red.
So originally, this is what it would have looked like. We can see on the right-hand side. I mean, very, very different. So that is how it would have appeared when it was stolen about 2 weeks before. Now, Jim, it's worth saying here that the people that stole the moped are not necessarily the ones that were riding at the time, but it is crucial you find out as much about the theft of that moped as possible, because that could help your inquiry.
Yeah, we can't assume that the people who stole the moped are responsible for the collision, and it could have changed hands.
I mean, these things often change hands. We know that from what your inquiries, but it's crucial you find out as much as you can about that stolen vehicle at the time.
Yeah.
I have to ask about Ina's 2 daughters. I mean, they must be absolutely distraught with what's happened.
Yeah, her 2 daughters are absolutely devastated, and they want answers in regard to what happened on the day and who's responsible.
They want some answers, you want some answers, we want to help you get some answers. But if anyone's at home and they can give that information across and they're in 2 minds about coming forward, there is a reward that's been put forward by the independent charity Crime Stoppers. Tell us about that.
That's correct. There's a £20,000 reward that leads to a conviction of the people responsible.
OK, Jim, thank you. Hopefully we can get you those answers. If you can help at all with this case, please do call in. Our contact details are at the bottom of the screen, just there next to the clock.
Now, it's a movement that started in London that is quite literally turning metal into muscle by melting down knives and transforming them into gyms.
With the right mindset and dedication, the impossible can actually become possible. My name's Christian DiPolito. I run the partnerships with Steel Warriors. Knife crime in London is a big problem. It's a problem across the whole country. And increasingly, I find myself spending more time with kids who have been affected one way or the other by knife crime. And it's a harrowing sight. Some of the kids I spoke to were as young as 12, 13, describing incidents that, frankly, they should not really be involved in at that age. The problem's serious. Steel Warriors is a charity that handles confiscated knives, melts them, and turns them into outdoor street gyms, like the one we see today. The charity launched in 2017. Everything that Steel Warriors is trying to do here is effectively turn a negative into a positive by showing young people, and especially disengaged youth, what is possible with the right mindset. Right now we have 3 gyms in 3 parks in London. This is one of them. We choose parks because they're public places, they're not affiliated to any particular estate or neighbourhood. The gyms are made entirely from confiscated knives, from the police, from amnesty bins. We've amassed about 10 tonnes of knives, which are stored in a warehouse. We have 10 crates full of the stuff. They're stripped to the handles, they're melted in the foundry, and then they're set in a mould to produce bars like this. The fact that the very bars that I'm sat on are made of melted knives is a very powerful statement.
Hello and welcome. My name is Simone and I'm going to be your coach today.
Calisthenics exercises really revolve around bodyweight training.
Single arms, lateral ropes.
For some people, even just doing a pull-up might seem a challenge. A lot of people haven't perhaps been shown how important it is to have a goal and how to effectively go about achieving that goal. We motivate others to really improve themselves and embark on a journey of self-development. to galvanise and encourage the community to take part, irrespective of experience, age, nationality, sexual orientation. We really operate a truly inclusive group.
My name's Shakadi, I go by the name SK, and I'm a trustee and brand ambassador for Still Warriors. All my life, I had this little aggression that's been in me. I got diagnosed from the age of 4 with ADHD. I've got kicked out of school many times. Around 18, I was gambling all day long because there was nothing to do. I just accepted I'm just this angry person that just gets in trouble. When I got into Still Warriors and started training, it made me like cool down. It was like my peace, my safe space. I'm a personal trainer now. I'm helping other people that was in my shoes to uncover what potential that they can do. If I can get people from all different walks of life into this little space here, get them training, that's what I'm about.
The mental resilience and the physical development that calisthenics teaches you is something that you carry for life. I just hope that what we do is offer a means for a young person to really change their life. It's never too late.
I've got to breathe in for this.
You look fine. But you know what? It's such a powerful message that this group send out, isn't it? I'm so pleased to say that Christian Shax and Demi from the Steel Warriors are right here with us in the studio. Very impressive moves. I'm going to have to pull you away, Christian, so we can have a chat. This movement, though, I mean, it's just going from strength to strength, isn't it?
It really is. We've had a fantastic year. We've launched a partnership with Gymshark. We're just about to open our 5th gym in Stratford, Newham. And in an attempt to reach more young people, we've launched a series of initiatives, a youth leadership programme, a youth intervention programme. We're focusing on the female community. And as you say, we're just going from strength to strength.
I love it. I can't take my eyes off these
Look
guys.
at this. Look at Shaq's upside down there. That's
I really want to have a
fantastic.
go, but I also don't want to embarrass myself because this is just
I also want
real
his
skills.
abs. On a serious note, though, this is really special to you personally, isn't it? Why is that so?
Yes, this is not a job. This is a lifestyle. And we really hope to inspire as many people as we possibly can to take their first step into fitness. And if they want to pursue a career in calisthenics, we're here for that too.
Yeah, well, you're certainly doing that.
Yeah.
And it's just growing wider and wider, isn't it, the field where you're getting this out there?
Absolutely. I mean, one thing to mention, I suppose, is that one of our gyms is actually strategically positioned inside Brixton Prison, which is a body of work which is really taking, well, it's developing a lot this year.
Yeah.
We hope to get more funding. But my plan is to visit as many estates as we possibly can to teach the foundations of calisthenics to the learners in the estates.
And it's not just Brixton Prison, is it? Because you've got High Point in Suffolk. And as you say, the community, there isn't a sense of a community in a prison. And actually have something like this, it can just create that sense of people progressing with their lives and making a change.
Absolutely. The barriers to entry for calisthenics are virtually zero. All you need is the floor. And so what we try and do is effectively give the very basics to develop strength, but critically mindset too. You know, you can't learn skills overnight. It's not going to happen. And so we teach the importance of having a goal and a progression-based approach to achieve that. And anyone can take part.
This is what is fascinating about, as you say, calisthenics in particular. It's a completely different type of discipline, isn't it? It's amazing.
It's bodyweight mastery.
Yeah.
And effectively what we're doing is really showing what's possible with little to minimal equipment, basically.
Wow.
It's little or no gravity in this situation. How is he doing
Making it
that?
look so
Shax,
easy.
you're making it look so easy. But how is this received in prison so far?
It's been received really well. I mean, it's still early days, and as I say, we're trying to really scale this up. But I think the programme here is really designed to equip a person with the tools that they need to hit the ground running when they come outside, basically.
It's great, isn't it? Because some people that are doing the programme with you and are really getting involved are actually getting more than just health and fitness out of it. They're getting a qualification in some cases as well.
Absolutely. This is a tool for self-development. And we hope to not just leave it at fitness, but use it as an opportunity to skill people up, to create paths for employability, be it within fitness itself, media, fashion, you name it. But as I say, it's an entry point to self-develop the mind, the body and the spirit.
And talk about scale and skill. I mean, you've been off to India as well, haven't you?
Yes, so this is not just a local phenomenon. Calisthenics is experiencing, I suppose, growth all over the world. We have a partnership with a gym in Mumbai, for instance. We've done an event together. We have ties to Mexico, to Germany, to France, to Spain, and we have a lot of support from around the world.
Literally take over the world.
Yeah.
And some people that are doing this now, they're actually getting a qualification from this as well, something they can take to an employer.
Absolutely. So PT qualifications are an incentive that we're giving to young people who stick with our programme. It's really ideal, I suppose, to offer tangible paths that a young person in particular can pursue to just develop themselves and create employability.
And Christian, you mentioned it in the film, it's the accessibility and the inclusivity of this kind of thing that is so key.
Our oldest member is 86 years old.
That's fantastic.
Tyler has one leg, Woody's in a wheelchair, Ollie has pink hair. It's really as inclusive and as diverse a community as you could possibly hope for.
So literally anyone could get involved. That's brilliant.
How often do you get together?
Every day.
Every day.
Yeah?
Oh, well, thank you for taking the
it's
time
brilliant.
out to come here.
And Demi, you look great for 86, I have to say. Absolutely fantastic. It's brilliant. Thank you so much.
Work.
And I wish you all
Thanks
the
for
best
having
with
us.
it.
Yeah, really appreciate it. Thank you. Now, as we were coming out of lockdown, we ran an appeal about a crime that was almost impossible to believe. It was about a teenager who was raped in the sea on one of the busiest days of the summer. Well, thanks to her bravery and the determination of the detectives involved, this is the story of how the man responsible was caught. And just to say, this is a tough watch.
It was a beautiful day, sun was shining. Everyone seemed to be going to the beach. Felt like freedom from all the lockdown we've all been going through. We went into the water. I had a ball that we were playing with, and it landed next to a man. I was like, will you give me my ball back? And he was like, no. Before I could leave him, he started to touch my arm and said, come with me. I was alone now. And the guy started pulling me out to deeper water and I couldn't feel my feet on the seafloor. It's then he started touching me and I was telling him no and to get off me. No one could see what was happening. That's when he raped me.
It was extremely traumatic for such a young girl. When the girl told her friends what had happened, they very quickly contacted family members who then reported the matter to Dorset Police. And we started an investigation. She worked really hard to help us in every way that she could so that we could get the best possible description and all of the details that she was able to help with. It wasn't known if he would try and do something similar again, and therefore there was pressure to get an identification of him as quickly as possible. That was a huge undertaking. The beach was packed with thousands of people from all over the country. It was very, very busy. There were families there for the whole day, and you would expect to be safe. We were told that the man was 17, of mixed race appearance, dark hair, and was wearing grey swimming trunks. They weren't known to each other, they'd had no previous contact, and she heard a name, Dabby. There was an e-fit that was prepared from the description. He told her he was from the Birmingham area. We liaised with our colleagues in the West Midlands. The e-fit was distributed in their force area. The feeling amongst the investigation team is a sense of outrage that somebody would have come and committed this horrible act on a child. Thousands of hours of CCTV was seized and trying to identify individuals amongst those crowds, all of whom were wearing beachwear, so it was very difficult and it was very much like looking for a needle in a haystack.
Whilst investigators scoured through nearby CCTV footage, the forensics team looked into the victim's clothing to recover any evidence.
In these circumstances, particular concern was this act had taken place underwater, so we weren't entirely sure what the seawater, what damage that would have done to any forensic evidence that was present. We were very hopeful that we would get a result, but it was by no means certain.
Despite having been underwater, incredibly, the forensic testing on the swimwear revealed the DNA of a suspect.
This was a major breakthrough. To then discover a full male DNA profile was really exciting. We then loaded that onto the National DNA database, but there were no matches.
A nationwide appeal was launched to find the suspect, and the attack was featured twice on Crimewatch.
On the programme today, police need your help identifying this man after he raped a teenager at Bournemouth Beach on one of the busiest days of the summer.
Crimewatch produced names that had to be researched, and comparison of their DNA very quickly was able to rule them out. We needed to make sure we'd exhausted every possible line of inquiry, including social media. Does anybody reveal something that may help the investigation, help us identify who Dabby may be?
A year after the sexual assault, the suspect was still unidentified. So Dorset police turned to an advanced forensic DNA technique.
Familial DNA is a process of examining the national DNA database for people who share common characteristics of their DNA with a suspect profile. We're looking for people we know haven't committed the offence, but may be related to people who have committed the offence. The threshold for conducting that search is quite high because it's very intrusive. The application needs to be considered by an ethics panel, and once all those levels of approval have been granted, then the forensic service provider conduct a physical search of the database.
When the results came back, police finally got the break they needed.
At the top of the list was one individual who had a very, very close DNA resemblance to the suspect sample. That made us quite confident that we'd identified a potential family member of our suspect. They appeared to be from the West Midlands area, and we used a number of intelligence gathering techniques to explore their family and visited them, and very quickly we were able to identify the suspect, who was a member of their family. The person that was identified was Gabrielle Marianoka. We were also able to identify mobile telephone numbers and vehicles that were used by the family. And as a result of research on them, we were able to identify that on the day of the offence, his family car travelled from Birmingham to Bournemouth and back again shortly after the offence. There are a number of other things that fell into place. Gabrielle, a shortened version of that is Gabby. That could very easily be misheard as Dabby. He was arrested for the offence of rape, brought back to Dorset and interviewed under caution. And when his DNA came back as a match, we had scientific evidence that proved that he was the person responsible. He is the one that engineered the circumstances. She did nothing wrong. He had deliberately ushered her out of her depth. He was much taller than her, and she could not touch the bottom, which gave him immense power over her. He was between her and the beach, so she could see all of the people on the beach and in the water. She could see safety. He covered her mouth so that she couldn't cry out. It must have been an absolutely terrifying ordeal for her.
Gabrielle Marianoka was charged with rape and sexual assault. On the 11th of March 2024, almost 3 years after the attack, the case went to trial.
The period just before a verdict is very nerve-wracking, particularly when the jury come in and you know that they have a verdict, but you don't know what it is.
He was found guilty and sentenced to 6 years in prison and put on the sex offenders register for life.
The victim is never very far from our thoughts, and this whole investigation was about obtaining justice for her and bringing somebody who'd committed a horrible act to justice to prevent them doing it to anybody else.
The date will never pass without me being taken back to the 15-year-old in the sea. I feel mentally drained. I want to try and enjoy my life as I should, but during the day my mind wanders. and I'm left with the image of him in my mind. What happened will never not be a part of my childhood.
Getting justice for victims like the one you just heard from there is what it's all about. Really great work from Dorset Police there. Now, loads of us own a bike and they can be worth a lot, so are an easy target for criminals up and down the country. Over 66,000 were reported stolen in England and Wales over the past year alone. So today, I'm joined by Sergeant Pippa Wilcox and the Merseyside Police Prevention Hub, who've been looking for ways to combat bike crime. Really good to have you with us today, Pippa. So tell us a bit more about Prevention Hub and what the aim is.
So the Prevention Hub is a small team and we work within our prevention strand, and the aim is to develop new initiatives working with partners, the community and the police as a whole to prevent those crimes happening in the first place, or those people coming to the notice of the police. And the analogy I like to use is if you imagine a river and we had people falling into the river, we wouldn't just keep saving them at the bottom. You know, we'd go to the top and find out why are they falling in, and we'd fix that problem.
Yeah, go to the source. Having that proactive approach is key, isn't it? So exactly how do you work with Bike Register? I see you've got your colleague Gurjit there working on the bike. What's going on?
So Gurj is actually registering and marking this bike. So I work closely with Bike Register to try and encourage as many members of the public to register their bikes as possible, but also we have introduced the stop search of a cyclist within Merseyside. We have introduced the registering and marking of bikes when pupils transition from primary to secondary schools. You know, we're really trying to encourage for the environment for people to use their bikes more now, and children have got high value bikes, so we need to put measures in to prevent you know, them becoming a victim of crime. And also our bike retailers within Merseyside work alongside us and mark and register bikes at point of sale. So the introduction of that stop search, just like you would have if you were stopped in your vehicle, and an officer would check our police national computer to see if it had insurance and MOT, and we would check the person. That is exactly the same with Bike Register. Now we can check the system and identify if the person who has the bike, that is the person we've got registered as owning that bike, and if it's outstanding stolen.
So is it a bit like a logbook for cars?
Yes, exactly. So once that bike is registered, a logbook is created, and that logbook remains with the remains with the bike. So it would if you sold it, it would transfer ownership, and those details would remain on the logbook.
So in practical terms, if I was to get my bike stolen, Pippa, like, how do I potentially get it back through this system?
Okay, so if your bike was stolen, first of all, I would advise you, even if you haven't registered your bike on Bike Register, to go online and register it. It's free, but it may be 6 months, a year down the line, but the police or a member of the public may come across that bike. And then I would say report it to the police so that we're aware of the crime and we can investigate it. When we're out and about, we would carry out a search. So this is on a laptop.
Okay.
But actually, we would do it on our mobile devices, and we could search on the QR code, which you can see on here. So they're the stickers that Gurj is applying at the moment.
Okay, so they can just be scanned and you've got all the information on them?
Yes, but even if you didn't want it to be marked, you can also search on frame number of the bike. And when we carry out a search, because we are police officers and have that secure login, we can see the name, address, email address of the owner. We can see if it's been sold on, and we can also see if the owner has said that it's outstanding stolen. So it allows us to make contact with the owner easily and confirm the status of that bike and whether the person we have stopped actually is in possession of stolen goods.
Understood. And just to say, this isn't a real address on there.
No.
This is just for the mock-up for today.
Yes.
It sounds like it's been really successful. In fact, you've actually won a national award, haven't you?
Yes, so stop search of cyclists isn't routinely done within the police, so we would have stop search of a pedestrian, a driver and a passenger, but actually having a tool that for a database we can search is not standard practice, and also all the other innovative ideas I talked about with regards to involving retailers and schools. And as a result, we've won the award and for the most innovative cycle crime reduction project, and it's been recommended as best practice.
That's fantastic. You must feel really proud, Pippa.
Yeah, no, I am, and everybody within Merseyside has done a fantastic job, you know, to really implement this. And I know officers out there are really passionate, and it's great to have this tool that we can make those bikes too hot to handle and give them back to their rightful owners.
I can tell you're so passionate about it. I mean, what's your motivation on a personal level?
You know, I am part of the community within Merseyside, and as well as bikes being involved in serious and organised crime, this is also a crime that impacts our community. You know, I'm sure most people will know somebody or heard of somebody that's had a bike stolen, and returning those bikes to the rightful owner and identifying those owners involved, you know, impacts on our grandparents, our brothers, our sisters, aunties, uncles. This is what policing is about, and this is about making sure that we work together, the community, public sector, private sector, to return their bikes to the rightful owners.
Oh, well, you know what, you're doing an incredible job. So thank you so much to both of you for coming in today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Great work.
Great work indeed. Time now for Wanted Faces. And first, we got 37-year-old Terry Roberts, who sometimes uses the surname Lee. He's been recalled to prison and has links to Ramsgate and Maidstone in Kent, as well as St Leonard's on Sea and East Sussex and Edinburgh in Scotland. What about Sydney Harker? Although he also uses the names Abraham Cash and Patrick Cash, Surrey police want to speak to him regarding false representation and money laundering. He's 31, has an Irish accent and connections across the south of England, particularly to Surrey, Dorset, Sussex, Hampshire and Kent. And last this week is Jamie Nichols. Police in Kent are looking for him after he's been charged with several offences. He's 54, has greying hair, medium build and has connections to Thanet in Kent, Hastings in East Sussex. If you've seen any of these men, please do get in touch.
We've just got enough time for an appeal from West Yorkshire Police who want to identify this man allegedly involved in a theft in Bradford. The incident took place on Tuesday, the 4th of June this year at Southfield Lane Post Office. At around 4:45 p.m, the suspect, who you can see here on CCTV, walked into the post office. Whilst the worker was distracted, he made his way behind the counter, which you can see there, and moments later, he made off with a quantity of money. Now, the suspect is described as an Asian or European male in his late 20s to early 30s, of medium build and clean-shaven. He was wearing a black Adidas hoodie and beige trousers with a light blue drawstring bag on his back. So please do get in touch if you recognise him.
Unfortunately, that's all we have time for, not just for today, but this week. Thank you for watching. Remember, you can catch us on iPlayer for up to 30 days after broadcast. If you'd like any advice or support following any of the films we've seen this morning, help is available at BBC Action Line.
Next week, Lincolnshire Police talk to us about how they caught a group of drivers dangerously racing with tragic consequences.
When I got there was just cars everywhere, and I saw a police officer then running towards me, and I instantly knew.
So sad. See you on Monday, 9:30. Have a good weekend.
Bye for now.